The man who nobody believed in. Most people don't fail because they are weak. They fail because nobody ever teaches them to believe in themselves. He woke up before sunrise, not because he was motivated, but because life doesn't wait for anyone. A small room, an old alarm clock, a deep breath. Every morning felt the same. Same walls, same ceiling, same questions in his head. He looked in the mirror. Not proud, not broken, just tired. Crowded streets, people rushing. Nobody noticed him. He wasn't special. No talent people talked about. No story worth sharing, yet. At work, orders piled up. Pressure. Silence. Someone laughed behind his back. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Night fell, room light on, phone in hand, social media, people winning, cars, trips, success. He wondered, why does life move forward for everyone, except me? Phone off, room silent, nothing changed, but something started. He opened a notebook, empty pages, slowly wrote one line. I want more than this. No motivation speech, no confidence, just honesty. That night, his story quietly began. Every project he tried failed. Every plan broke. Every hope felt heavy. People said, why bother? Some laughed, some ignored, some stopped calling. He wanted to explain, but he stayed silent. Boss yelled, friends mocked, life felt heavy. Money problems, bills, rent, dreams seemed impossible. He walked home every night, alone, silent, observing, thinking. Pain became his teacher. Every failure taught him something new. He decided, I will work when nobody is watching. I will grow quietly. One night, he sat alone. No money, no motivation, no energy. He thought, maybe they're right. Maybe I should quit. He cried quietly, felt invisible, felt hopeless, but deep inside, a tiny voice whispered, keep going. You're not done yet. He made a choice, not for anyone else, not for fame, for himself. Every night, every morning, learning, reading, practicing, failing, improving. No announcements, no flashy motivation, just discipline, consistency, focus. A project succeeded. Small applause, a skill mastered, confidence grew. Nobody noticed, but he did. While others slept, he worked. While others talked, he learned. Every step, invisible. Every effort, valuable. Weeks passed, months passed. Every small success added weight to his silent journey. Each night was longer than the last, yet he refused to stop. The world was busy with noise, but he had chosen silence. That silence was his strength. Even as small successes began to appear, the weight of the journey never lifted. Nights were still long, days still felt repetitive. Each failure left a mark, each doubt lingered in the shadows. He observed people around him enjoying life, oblivious to the quiet battles he fought. Some nights he worked, some nights he just stared at the ceiling, wondering if it was worth it. But then he reminded himself, discipline over motivation, silent effort over loud applause. This is how victories are earned. And so he continued. Every page he wrote, every skill he learned, every drop of sweat mattered. Invisible to others, but visible to him. And that visibility fueled his persistence. Then it happened. A project he had been pouring months into finally succeeded. The small applause became larger recognition. The tiny victories turned into milestones. People who once doubted him asked questions. Those who laughed first now sought advice. And yet, he stayed calm, silent, focused. He had not achieved this for fame or recognition. He had achieved this for himself. Proof that persistence always wins. He understood finally that success is not a single moment. It is the sum of every choice made in silence. Every night stayed up, every lesson learned, every failure endured. It all created the person he was becoming. Life continued to test him. New challenges arose, but he faced them with the quiet strength he had built over months of struggle. Each day, he became unstoppable, not because the world acknowledged him, but because he had acknowledged himself. The world finally saw him, yes, but he no longer needed it. The person who once doubted, who once failed, who once felt invisible, had become the person he always wanted to be. Freedom, self-respect, purpose. Every struggle had a lesson, every failure a message, every night a preparation for the day that would come. And now he could say, your time is coming. No matter the doubts, no matter the mockery, no matter the failures, keep going. Stay silent, stay focused. Your time is coming. Even when the world mocks, even when everyone doubts, remember, it is your effort, your discipline, your focus that defines you. Nobody believed in him, and yet, he believed in himself. And that belief created a life nobody could ignore. Keep moving, keep learning, keep failing, keep rising, because the person you are becoming is stronger than the person who doubts you. Your time is coming, and when it arrives, the world will notice. But more importantly, you will notice your own greatness. This is the story of every quiet dreamer. The person who works when nobody is watching, who believes when nobody believes, who falls and rises again, and finally, who becomes unstoppable. Your journey may feel invisible today. Your victories may seem small. But every single effort matters. Every late night, every sacrifice, every tear, every doubt you overcome is a building block. You are becoming someone remarkable. Silent, focused, patient, unstoppable. Remember, consistency beats talent. Patience beats impatience. Hard work beats shortcuts. And your life is your masterpiece waiting to unfold. This is the story of the man who nobody believed in. And yet, he believed in himself. And that belief changed everything. And just when he thought the journey could slow, life reminded him that growth never stops. Every day brought a new challenge. Every challenge brought a new lesson. And every lesson was another step on the path to becoming unstoppable. He woke up early, same as always, but now with purpose burning quietly inside him. Not for anyone else, not for applause, not for recognition, but for himself. For the satisfaction of knowing that he would never settle for mediocrity. Sometimes the world still doubted him. Sometimes the path seemed impossible. Sometimes it felt like the effort would never be enough. But he had learned a secret. The world doesn't determine your value, your consistency does. Your patience does. Your commitment does. He began to see the power of small victories. A skill mastered, a problem solved, a door opened quietly. These victories were invisible to most, but they were monumental to him. Each one was a building block of the life he was constructing silently. Nights grew longer, work became harder, and the pressure increased. And yet, he welcomed it. He understood that comfort never built greatness. Challenge did, resistance did, struggle did, and in every moment of struggle, he found the strength to rise a little higher. There were moments of doubt. He would sit alone in the dark, questioning everything. Is this worth it? He asked himself. But then he would remember every night he had endured, every tear he had shed, every failure he had overcome. And he would answer, yes, it is worth it. Every second, every drop of effort, every single step forward. Slowly, the world started noticing. Not in the way he expected, not in applause or loud recognition, but in subtle shifts. Opportunities appeared, doors opened, people began to respect him quietly. And yet he remained calm. He did not chase attention. He did not seek validation. He simply continued to grow. And as he grew, he began helping others silently. The person who once struggled alone started guiding those who were starting their journey. He became a quiet mentor, a beacon of hope for those lost in darkness. Not loud, not flashy, but powerful. He realized that true strength isn't in showing off victory. It's in enduring the invisible battles, in being consistent when nobody is watching, in continuing the climb when the peak feels unreachable. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. His skills multiplied, his confidence solidified, and his understanding of life deepened. He understood failures weren't setbacks. They were lessons disguised as pain. He understood doubt wasn't weakness. It was a signal that he was pushing boundaries. People now started asking him questions. Not mockingly, not arrogantly, but genuinely. How did you do it? They asked. And his answer was simple. I kept moving. I stayed silent. I worked when nobody was watching. I believed in myself when nobody else did. That's all. He realized life is not about proving people wrong. It is about proving yourself right. About living a life that aligns with your values. About showing up every day, even when it is hard. And with this understanding, his journey became almost effortless. Not easy, but effortless in spirit. He could face challenges without fear, handle criticism without doubt, and embrace every opportunity without hesitation. He had built inner strength that no external force could shake. He spent nights planning, days executing, and every moment learning. He embraced the process, not just the outcomes. He learned that the secret to greatness was not a single breakthrough, but a lifetime of tiny, deliberate steps. Every late night, every sacrifice, every tear, they were no longer burdens. They were proof of growth, proof of resilience, proof of the unstoppable human spirit. And he knew this was only the beginning. The man who nobody believed in now stood as an example that persistence, patience, and silent discipline create results far beyond imagination. That belief in oneself is more powerful than the opinions of the world. That life rewards those who endure, consistently, passionately, and with purpose. And in these quiet victories, he found fulfillment. Not the fleeting happiness of applause, not the empty satisfaction of recognition, but the deep, unshakable joy of becoming exactly who he was meant to be. He smiled quietly, walking through the city streets, the sunrise painting the sky behind him. A life once invisible now radiated with the light of determination, resilience, and purpose. And yet he remained humble. He had learned the most important lesson. Success without grace is hollow. He began to reflect. Life's true victories are never just about wealth, fame, or recognition. They are about becoming strong enough to face every storm, patient enough to endure every night, and disciplined enough to take the next step when everyone else rests. And so he continued, not because he had to, not because anyone watched, but because he had discovered the power of his own unwavering spirit. Each day was a canvas, each effort a brushstroke, and his life, slowly but surely, was becoming a masterpiece. If you are listening to this story, remember, your struggles are your foundation. Your doubts are your teachers. Your late nights are the seeds of your future. Keep going, stay silent, stay disciplined, stay focused, and when your time comes, as it surely will, the world will notice. But more importantly, you will notice yourself. This is the story of the man who nobody believed in. And yet, he believed in himself. And that belief carried him through nights of despair, days of toil, months of invisible effort, and ultimately, into a life of fulfillment, purpose, and unstoppable strength. And now, you too, can take this lesson. Every effort matters. Every failure teaches. Every night of struggle builds the person you are becoming. Silent, focused, patient, unstoppable. Keep moving forward. Keep learning. Keep rising. Your journey may feel invisible today, but the life you are building is extraordinary. And when the world finally sees it, it will be undeniable. Because the person who believed when nobody else did is the person who shapes their own destiny. And that is the power of your own belief. And now, imagine waking up tomorrow with the clarity that every effort you make matters. Every step you take, no matter how small, contributes to building the life you've been dreaming of. The nights of struggle, the moments of doubt, the tears you've shed, they are not wasted. They are the bricks of your future. He walked through quiet streets as the city began to stir, each step deliberate, each breath intentional. He had learned that life doesn't hand out victories, it rewards those who are consistent, those who endure, those who refuse to quit even when the world is silent. Every challenge became an opportunity. Every failure became a lesson. Every criticism became a guide. And he embraced it all with patience, with grace, with unwavering focus. Slowly, his life transformed. The man who once felt invisible now commanded a presence that was felt, not by arrogance, but by sheer consistency and quiet power. He inspired others not through words, but through example. Some mornings, he would see others struggling in silence, just as he once did. He would remember the nights he spent questioning himself, the hours when despair almost defeated him, and he would offer a small gesture, a kind word, a moment of guidance, not to boast, but to show that persistence works, that belief works, that quiet effort works. He realized that true mastery is not in the applause or recognition. True mastery is in the daily commitment, in showing up even when there is no audience, in refusing to be defeated by circumstances, and in believing in yourself when nobody else does. And then came the moments that tested him further. New challenges arose, bigger responsibilities, higher expectations, unforeseen obstacles. And yet, he faced them with a calm confidence, because he knew that he had built something unshakable within himself, a foundation of discipline, patience, and belief. Life, he discovered, is not a single victory. Life is a series of battles, some visible, some invisible, some celebrated, some unnoticed, and the ones that go unseen are often the most important. The silent effort, the consistent action, the refusal to quit, those are what create true greatness. People began noticing more and more, not because he sought attention, but because consistent excellence cannot be hidden. Opportunities came knocking, doors opened, friends, colleagues, even strangers began to see the results of unwavering effort. And yet, he remained humble. He had learned that the measure of a person is not in recognition, but in their integrity, their patience, their persistence. He spent hours reflecting on his journey, realizing that the darkest moments, the longest nights, the heaviest burdens, were not punishments, they were preparation. Preparation for the life he now lived, the person he had become, and the impact he could have on others. He realized that true mastery is not in the applause or recognition. True mastery is in the daily commitment, in showing up even when there is no audience, in refusing to be defeated by circumstances, and in believing in yourself when nobody else does. And then came the moments that tested him further. New challenges arose, bigger responsibilities, higher expectations, unforeseen obstacles. And yet, he faced them with a calm confidence, because he knew that he had built something unshakable within himself, a foundation of discipline, patience, and belief. Life, he discovered, is not a single victory. Life is a series of battles, some visible, some invisible, some celebrated, some unnoticed, and the ones that go unseen are often the most important. The silent effort, the consistent action, the refusal to quit, those are what create true greatness. People began noticing more and more, not because he sought attention, but because consistent excellence cannot be hidden. Opportunities came knocking, doors opened, friends, colleagues, even strangers began to see the results of unwavering effort. And yet, he remained humble. He had learned that the measure of a person is not in recognition, but in their integrity, their patience, their persistence. He spent hours reflecting on his journey, realizing that the darkest moments, the longest nights, the heaviest burden were not punishments, they were preparation. Preparation for the life he now lived, the person he had become, and the impact he could have on others. And as he reflected, he began to understand something even deeper. Success is not an endpoint. It is a journey of self-discovery, of discipline, of courage, and of quiet triumphs. It is a life lived intentionally, a life where every action matters, and where every setback is a lesson for the next step. He remembered his early mornings, his struggles, the mocking laughter of those who didn't believe in him, and he smiled quietly, because he knew that every obstacle he faced, every doubt he overcame, had prepared him for this very moment. He had become unstoppable, not because the world noticed, but because he noticed himself. And now, he dedicated himself to living fully, not recklessly, but purposefully, not loudly, but with quiet confidence. He began mentoring others, sharing what he had learned, not as a sermon, but as a guide, to show that the path is not easy, but it is always worth it. That patience, consistency, and belief in oneself are the greatest tools anyone can have. His days were long, but meaningful. His nights were quiet, but reflective. He worked, he learned, he failed, he grew, and through it all, he remained focused. He understood that each small action, each disciplined habit, each act of courage, compounded over time, created the life he had dreamed of. And then came a moment of clarity, a realization he had carried for years. The journey itself is the reward. The struggle, the discipline, the patience, the belief, these are the things that shape you into someone remarkable. They cannot be rushed, they cannot be faked, and they cannot be taken away. They are yours forever. And in that moment, he felt a deep peace, not the fleeting happiness of external success, but the unshakable satisfaction of knowing that he had stayed true to himself, that he had persisted when nobody watched, that he had believed when nobody else did. He had discovered the ultimate truth: your belief is your power. Your silent efforts are your victories. Your patience and discipline are your foundation. And the life you build through these principles is not just success, it is a legacy. If you are listening to this story now, remember, your nights of struggle are your preparation. Your silent efforts are your victories. Your patience is your power. Your belief in yourself is unstoppable, and the world may not notice yet, but when it does, it will see a life shaped by courage, persistence, and unwavering commitment. So stand tall, even when unseen. Keep moving, even when tired. Keep believing, even when doubted. Because the person who persists, who believes, and who endures is the person who changes their destiny. And that destiny begins with you. Every day, every effort, every choice, it matters. Build your life deliberately, quietly, and passionately. And know this, the person you are becoming is unstoppable. And that is the true power of belief, patience, and perseverance. And that, ultimately, is the story of the man who nobody believed in, and yet, he believed in himself. And in that belief, he changed everything. But the story does not truly end there. Because belief is not a destination, it is a responsibility. Once you realize your own strength, you can never unsee it. Once you discover what discipline can build, you can never return to excuses. And once you understand that your life is shaped by what you do in silence, you begin to live differently. He understood now that success had given him something far more valuable than result. It had given him awareness. Awareness of his thoughts. Awareness of his habits. Awareness of how easily people waste years waiting for the right time. He saw it everywhere. People with dreams, but no patience. Talent, but no consistency. Motivation, but no discipline. And he realized something painful, yet powerful. Most people don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because they quit too early. He remembered how close he had come to quitting. The nights when giving up felt logical. The moments when belief felt foolish. The days when progress was invisible. And he knew, if he had stopped then, this version of him would never exist. So he made a promise to himself. Never forget where he came from. Never disrespect the process. Never let success make him lazy. Because life has a way of humbling those who forget the struggle. Each new day became a discipline. Not motivation, discipline. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. He woke up with intention. He worked with focus. He rested with purpose. And he reflected with honesty. He learned that mastery is boring to those who crave excitement. It is repetitive. It is lonely. It is slow. And that is why so few ever achieve it. The world celebrates highlights, not habits. Applause, not preparation. Results, not routines. But he knew better now. He knew that the real work happens when nobody is watching. When there is no reward. No recognition. No guarantee. That is where character is built. And so he kept going, even after success, especially after success, because the greatest danger is not failure. It is comfort. He pushed himself to learn more, to grow more, to become more. Not to prove anything to the world, but to honor the version of himself who once struggled in silence. Time passed, seasons changed, and life continued to test him. Some tests were external, losses, pressure, responsibility. Others were internal, ego, fear, complacency. And each time, he returned to the same principles: belief, patience, perseverance. He understood now that belief is not blind optimism. It is earned confidence built through action. Patience is not waiting. It is working without immediate reward. And perseverance is not stubbornness. It is courage repeated daily. Slowly, his presence changed rooms. His calm inspired others. His discipline made noise without words. People asked him what his secret was. He smiled, because there was no secret. Only consistency. Only sacrifice. Only time. And this is where the story becomes yours. Because somewhere right now, someone is listening to this, feeling unseen, unheard, underestimated. Someone is doubting themselves. Someone is tired. Someone is one decision away from quitting. And this story exists for that moment, to remind you that your current chapter is not your final chapter. That silence does not mean failure. That slow progress is still progress. You don't need applause to continue. You don't need permission to believe.
If you're watching this video till the end, please leave a like from your heart. Let me know in the comments how it made you feel. And don't forget to subscribe, because I'll keep bringing you more satisfying and relaxing stories.